Welcome to Motivation Monday. Today we have a very special rock star leader that really, Becky can say we're doing it together, but she's like, here's my idea, what do you think? And basically I said, you should do that. So I will be here being a cheerleader, encourager, and walking us through this, but Becky is a passionate leader who has so much experience with really finding ways to dig her into her team and finding ways to educate them and breaking it down so it's very simple. So I love the way she teaches. I'm so excited to be here with her tonight and what actually happened that I think y'all will think it's pretty cool. Our Power of One initiative we're doing in Dream Team right now, that is just a post that Courtney and I are giving away some diffusers. It's for everyone. It's a team-wide thing. It ties in so directly to what Becky's talking about that I want you to realize, like, this applies to you. I see some brand new people. I see some experienced people. Like, it applies to everyone because this is something that we all need to focus on. So she's going to do a teaching segment. Then we're going to hopefully have a conversation. So you can use the chat window over to the right side. If you click chat, it'll pop up. You can type in there the whole time. And if we are able to unmute and have some questions, we can do that as well. But for now, I'm going to hand it over to you, Becky, and cannot wait to just have open ears and an open notebook, girl.
Thank you, Ashley. You guys can just put in your comments. I'm going to be asking a few questions. I'm going to be making up some numbers, so just participate as much as you want. I have got Believe going in the diffuser right now. What do you guys have going in the diffuser, or what are you wearing right now? And I love this oil. It gets me ready whenever I'm going to do something new, whenever I'm kind of getting ready to kind of speak about what's in my heart. And so I hope you like that oil as well. So let's just jump into it. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about an audio clip that I heard from Jim Rohn, and it's called The Law of Averages. And I'm a green, if you can't tell. So I love math and I love numbers. So real quick, I'm just going to make up numbers, and I'm going to use Ashley as my example here. So Ashley is our amazing diamond leader. Like, I have learned so much from her. She is constantly teaching people. She is constantly pouring into people. And most of all, she is always talking to people. She is not shy to talk to people, to reach out to them, to have a conversation, to ask them how their day is going. Like, she is amazing how many people she reaches all the time. So let's just say that if Ashley talks to 10 people about oils, Ashley can talk to tons of people, but if she talks to 10 people about oils, 6 of them are going to enroll with her. They're going to say, yes, I want the oils. That sounds great. So let's say I'm really new, and if I talk to 10 people about oils, I'll probably enroll 1 of them. So, you know, that's fair, okay? I don't have as much experience as Ashley, but this is where I'm starting off at. So in the comments, what do you think your average is? Just, you know, no one's going to hold you to this number, but if you talk to 10 people about oils, how many of them are going to enroll with you? So this month is, sorry, Ashley enrolls 7 people if she talks to 10 people about oils. My mistake. So this is March. This is 31 days long. So if I enroll 1 person out of every 10 and Ashley enrolls 7 people out of every 10, who's going to enroll more people this month? Okay, great. Okay, simple numbers would say Ashley's going to enroll more, but the answer is I can enroll more. If Ashley talks to 10 people, she enrolls 7 of them. If I enroll 1 person out of every 10, that means if I talk to 100 people, I'm going to enroll 10 people. I've enrolled more people than Ashley now. She is way better at enrolling people, but all I have to do is talk to more people, if that's my numbers. And you know what? If you talk to 100 people in 1 month about oils, I guarantee your number is going to go up too. So if you sit down and you talk to 100 people about oils and you get at least 10 people to enroll with you, that means you're doing your average of 1 of 10. But I guarantee you're going to get more than 10 people if you consistently talk to 100 people every month about oils. So like I said, Ashley is not shy to talk to people about anything, and she has this amazing enrollment rate. Even though she is a diamond leader, a lot of people think, oh, once I'm diamond, I don't need to do all the work. And that is so not the case. She leads by example. She is constantly enrolling. You know, she is so good at this, even though she's all the way up at diamond. And I don't know what her numbers are. I think like any day now, she's just going to tip over into crown diamond because she is so consistent and works so hard. And I'm not even going to be surprised when that happens because I already see her there because she is consistent and she is always working hard. So let's take this example, or any questions about that with enrolling. Do people feel like it's pretty simple, right? If that's your average, if you want to enroll more people, talk to more people. Any questions so far? Yeah.
Becky, if last month, say if I were on this call and I didn't know what we were talking about, I would probably write down all the people I talked to and actually look at my average for real. Because I think what happens is what we do is we say, I had a class last month with 5 people and only 1 person enrolled. And what we don't realize, we only talked to 5 people. Like that was it. And so when we say that we didn't do a good job of enrolling, what it actually means is just an exposure issue. So what she is saying, to break it down further, we're just talking right now about pure math that comes from the numbers of exposures that you're getting. So just another clarification. I want you to do that though. Like in February, write down all your one-on-ones and write down all your classes, write down the people you were contacting, like see what was your actual number, not just your random guess, but your actual number. So thanks, Becky. Go, I'm sorry.
Yeah, really good point there. And that reminds me, when I first started doing this business, when I started getting serious about it, I told myself, I'm going to enroll 2 people every month. And so what I did was, before the month would start, I would decide who those 2 people would be, and I would just talk to them. And guess what? I did not enroll 2 people a month because I did not have a 10 out of 10 average. I was really like, if you look at it, that's really arrogant to say, oh, I am going to enroll the 2 people that I talk to no matter what. Like my average wasn't 100%. So I needed to talk to more than 2 people if I wanted to enroll 2 people. And I would be afraid that once I got those 2 people, I wouldn't want to talk to the 3rd because I was saving them for the next month. And one, that was also really arrogant to kind of think, oh, if I just talk to this 3rd person, they're going to be enrolled any second now. But, you have to keep talking. And so Ashley has this awesome number. She enrolls 6 or 7 people for every 10 she talks to. But, those 3 or 4 that tell her no, it's not a no, it's a no for right now. So maybe she had to have the first conversation. Maybe you have to have that first conversation and get the no, so that later on in the month or the next month or the next month, that turns into your yes. So don't limit yourself to who you're going to talk to. And the same thing can apply really well to social media. Let's say you do this beautifully constructed post all about lavender. You're not salesy, you're not pushing it, but it's just you do all the right buzzwords and you frame it perfectly, and you go into work and you just put it up on Facebook. And the next day you go into work and someone says, oh, I saw your post on lavender. I want to enroll right now. I want lavender and I want everything. Like, that's awesome, but that doesn't happen all the time. Let's just say it happens like if 100 people view that post and you go into work and you happen to work with one of those people, 1 out of 100 is going to enroll with you like that. So it's not a great average, but it's pretty easy, right? All you did was put up a post and then just someone kind of came to you, 1 in 100. But what if you want more people than that one person? You can't post about lavender every single day. Then nobody's going to see your post, and then that average is going to go down. But what if you look at that awesome post that you did, and let's say you got 25 likes. What if you contacted all 25 of those likes and just said, hey, I saw you like my post on lavender, and I realized we haven't caught up in a while. What's been going on with you? Or, hey, I saw you like my post on lavender. What did you like about it? Hey, how are your kids doing? What if you just reached out and then started talking to more people that way? I'm pretty sure that average will start to go up. And the same thing goes for like what Ashley was saying about classes. And this is what I'm super guilty of. I'll put a class together. I'll put it up on Facebook. I will invite a few people. And then I'm so disappointed that only like 1 or 2 people show up. Is anybody else guilty of this? Has this happened to anybody? Or even worse, you just forget to like actively invite people. Like somebody else set up the event, or it's in your Facebook group, so it invites your group for you. And then you're like, oh my gosh, why are the only people here? There's 2 people and they're both members already. Why is this happening? Like, if you set up the event and then you take the time, let's say you do a power hour and you just consciously invite people one-on-one. You just text them or you message them or you call them and say, I'm doing this great class, I think you would love it. I'm sure your numbers of attendance are going to go up. And if those numbers go up, that means you have a way better average of people that are going to be enrolling with you from that class. So that is kind of my take on the law of averages and how we can all use it to become rockstar enrollers, rockstar class teachers, rockstar social media moguls. I'm not sure what social media experts are called because I'm not one. But any questions or any opinions about that? What do you guys think?
I want to hear some of y'all's averages. Nobody wrote a number but me. Let's hear some averages, guys. What do you think? Like now that you've kind of maybe thought through February, maybe think through, what are y'all's averages? And this is not a good or bad. You understand how we get an average on a team? So our average on our team is a 0 because most people on our team don't enroll anyone. I mean, don't you think about it that way? Our literal average right now, because there's so many people, when you go through it, it's like less than, right? When you go and even after that. But that doesn't mean that there are people out there that are enrolling 15 a month. And that doesn't mean there's a whole bunch of people that aren't enrolling 1 a month. It just means that there's a lot of people that aren't sharing with anyone. So if you share with one person and get them enrolled, here's another way of spending it. How many people did you have to have an active early conversation with? And this is not fun if y'all don't participate. Come on, just throw out some numbers. What do you think?
Can you reiterate what I'm averaging out? I'm so sorry, I jumped in late.
No, it's just how many people you have to talk to enroll 1. Like out of 10, what's your averages?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Give me a minute to think.
I think a lot of people's average in this group is pretty high. It's just they don't talk to enough people. I think a lot of people, especially if you've been in the group for a while, you've planted lots of seeds, and the more people you talk to, the more they're going to start coming in. But when I first started, my average was definitely like 1 out of 10 because I didn't know what I was doing. I said lots of wrong things. And you know, I learned from that, and I learned from others around me, like Ashley, like Lori, like Keeleen, and you know, my average has definitely gotten better. I'd say now, I'm not face to face. Most of the time, it's just through messaging or video chat like this. But I'd say maybe I'm at 4 or 5 out of 10 right now. You know, I'd love for it to be higher, but that's, you know, that's my truth. That's kind of where my average is. I'd say maybe it's 3 or 4.
So do you understand this isn't a judgment on yourself or other people? It legit is like you being like, oh my goodness. It is like a light bulb moment where you're like, I want to enroll 5 people this month. So some people might need to talk to 50. Some of y'all might need to talk to 10. You know what I mean? It is just cool.
I think for me, I kind of got stuck in a box where I felt like the only way I was going to enroll people is if I had 101 classes. And then it was like, I don't know, probably about like 6 months ago, like the whole one-on-one concept. Like I've always been like, oh, I'm really good when I meet with people one-on-one. And like my 90% of the time, like I enroll people if I have a one-on-one with them. They'll sign up within the next like 30 days, easy. Like that's going to happen. And so then I was like, oh, well, I'll just focus on 101s. And then I stopped doing classes, and then people who are interested in classes were. So I was like, I have to find that gracious balance and just keep riding the wave of, okay, I need to make sure I have classes on my calendar and I have time to make sure I'm booking the 101. So my numbers, I would probably say I'm enrolling like probably 5 out of the 10 people that I talk to. But I don't know, like the time frame, like they're not going to necessarily sign up at that moment, but usually within 30 to 60 days, I'm enrolling everybody that I actually take time to be intentional about talking to them. And if I'm interested in signing them up, like it's going to happen in the next 3 months or so. But I've learned to not have as much of a feeling of pressure on myself. And I stopped saying like, well, they're going to count. I love, Becky, what you said, the whole thing of like, well, because I was so guilty of it. I totally did it. I'm like, I need 2 people this month, and I'd pick those 2 people, and I'd put my heart and soul into those 2 people. And then if one of them didn't sign up, I was crushed and devastated. I'm like, I hate this, you know? And then I realized, I'm like, no, like I needed that. If you are investing in a whole bunch of people and all the time, and just keep on, you know, keep the relationships going, keep the conversations going. They don't all have to be about oils. It could just be, how are you doing? And just doing that with as many people as cross my path, and just keep connecting them. And then all of a sudden my numbers go up tremendously because I have all these people in the queue ready. And that's why I've hit Help 5 so much. That's why I've been like on top enrollment so much lately, because I'm just not stopping the whole conversation. And if they don't sign up, there's no pressure on me anymore, because they're not on my list of people I have to sign up. They're on my a list of people I have to love and support in their timing and in their pace.
Good.
So that's my feedback, my 10%.
I I love that. And it's so true. It's not just like April, you kind of said you don't want to talk about oils all the time. And I don't either. That'd be kind of boring to talk about oils all the time. We all have so much more in our lives to talk about than that. And other people have more in their lives that we want to know about. And so, like Kimberly said, you know, it's not just about talking about oils. It's about loving on people and finding those relationships. But if you never talk to anybody, you really can't get that conversation started at all. So that's why, you know, the more you reach out to, the better that average is going to become.
On just, y'all are like, why is she saying this? But on a flip side about improving your conversation and relational skills, I will say it is helpful the more that you learn how to navigate relationships. So it's not you making 5 new best friends a month, because that's not sustainable. And it's also not authentic, right? Like that's not authentic. Because then what are you gonna do next month? Your 15 friends from the 3 months before you're gonna drop. That's not how, like, and that is a mistake a lot of people make, where they're like, oh, I'm like, you know, I'm basically flirting with all these prospects. And then once you enroll them, you can't drop them. So what I would encourage you to do is, if there are people in your life that you know would be really good at this business and you know will enroll with you, that I would write their names down and be super intentional with them, with the level of intentionality you can give them after they enroll. So every month I do literally write down, like, it's not 50 names. I have a prospect list that has about 200 names that I keep full, right? Like people enroll, I add new people. But then I write down really specifically, like, my target is I want to enroll people who are influencers. Like, I want to enroll people who have networks that are willing to introduce me to their network. And I want to be like, oh, like, I want to say that. I'm okay with saying that. For me is what I'm saying. I'm okay with saying, like, you are someone I've known for a long time and I admire you as a person. Like, that's the kind of people where I am right now that I want to be enrolling. So I write down names of people that I think are like that, or those type of people that I already know. And then I work really hard to introduce them to oils or the business opportunity, but in a way that honors that I'm only going to keep that amount of time with them once I enroll them. And y'all just being really clear with that, because a lot of us get overwhelmed when we're like super tight with somebody and then we enroll them and then we're like, oh, they're into the community, they don't need me anymore. And that is where, like, we see long term, we see a huge drop off in our community involvement and a huge drop off in our ER percentages and a huge drop off with the amount of people going inactive. So just make sure that in your head you are able to do these 2 things really well. And what I mean is the 2 things as in, like, talk to lots of people, but the people that you already have kind of in your queue of people that are people you know, just keep it so that you're able to put effort in the relationship that you can sustain. Because none of us can be connected to hundreds of people at a level of depth. We can be connected to hundreds of people that we can then connect well to each other, and we can make sure that there's a uniting factor that is like health and wellness or purpose and isn't just us. That didn't sound very fun. So let me say, let's do something more fun. But it's really good advice, because I will tell you, I never heard that. And I felt like I knew that in my head, but then I heard girls on my team that were like, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to enroll. Here's good language. I don't want to enroll any more people because I can't keep up with who I have. Here's the deal. Work smarter and not harder. Work smarter and not harder. Have an event every single month. And I don't care if you're not as fancy and fun as Kim, that is okay. I'm not either. I'm working on it every day. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm actually not kidding. It is truthful. Like, I am not going to have like a theme every month that's super put together. What I'm going to do is every month I decide something I can have that's either a big public class, having one this Wednesday, and I'm like, this is the thing local people can come to. Or if it's online, I've been mixing it up and saying, like, I'm posting events in my group. I'm not doing a separate event. Because the whole thing is I want them to feel connected. And even if it's me just tagging them or messaging them or like following up, I still want it to be touch points that make sense. And it's not 100% systematic. It's not just project broadcast. It's not just a sway email that I send out, but it's something that's individual touch points. Well, that's fun. Now that it's only the 5th day or the 4th day of the month, I would encourage you, if you don't have a real prospect list, if you aim for nothing, you're surely going to get it. So right now, if you know that your law of averages is that you enroll 20% and you want to enroll 6 people this month, then go ahead, guys, and write down the names of 30 people that you're like, well, these are really cool people that I should talk to. And either it's like someone that you think would be great at oils, someone that I'm going to go is great, is like they need health and wellness, right? Someone that maybe would be a rock star at the business, or someone that you're like, I kind of had tiptoed around it and mentioned it, but haven't actually had a conversation. In April, if y'all don't mind, I want to read this out loud. April, do not get mad at me because I know sometimes being an example, you're like, that's fun. She wrote, I don't talk to enough people, but also I don't want to always push oils. I want to build a relationship so I don't seem salesy. The words that I just said, when I spoke them and heard myself say them, everything about it made me feel ooh and negative. Like it made me actually feel like I don't want to do that either. And also, like, if April was my friend and I read that, I would be like, I don't want to talk to her about that either. I say this all the time, and y'all probably are sick of hearing it, but the most important words that you say are the words that come out of your own mouth. The most important thoughts that you think are the thoughts between your two ears. So when we think we're being salesy, we are, because what is in our hearts comes out of our mouths. And it's so simple to say this, but what I mean is you have to change. Like April, you are so good at enrolling. You are so good at relational connections. You have to speak over yourself with believe, use abundance, use the feelings kit, man, use valor, bad self, and just remind yourself that you are offering a product to people that they need. And also remind yourself that there was once a time where you thought oils were expensive, but that time is no more because you believe that they are invaluable. They are gold in your household, and everyone else who has them will benefit abundantly from having these oils. So that concept of them being too expensive, I 100% of the time, 100% of the time when people get that excuse, it's because something in them believes that. So I had one era of my business, like a 6-month time period where I had never had heard that, and I started hearing it, and I realized it was Bruce was about to retire, scarcity mindset, fear, right? Like, I'm not being funny, but like without me even saying it, it was how I felt. So when someone said back to me, oh, they're really expensive, my words, instead of being like, girl, are you crazy? Like, I would give $500 for a bottle of Thieves. Do you know what that does in our household? And I tell them boldly. Instead, I would back off and say, oh, I understand. I've lived on a pretty tight budget before too. And when you get when you get the ability to save, like I would say things like that. And I didn't necessarily believe it, but it was fear driven. So with that, and I'm not talking just directly to April, I'm literally using her words as an example for y'all to understand that on your team, you have people that are fearful of being in an environment like this call. You have people that are fearful of talking to someone in a class. You have people that are fearful of people knowing that they are a leader and enrolling 0 people every month. You have people that are fearful of being a voice of someone saying, I didn't hit that rank last month that I've hit before. You have people that are so bound in fear of what, not even, here's the best one. It's not even what other people think. It's what they think about themselves. What they think about themselves, that they can't even write, some of y'all, they can't even write their average down because they're so fearful of actually knowing what it is. We live that way. Like, we're on here, some of y'all might be on here, and I get like this sometimes where I'm like, I don't even know how many people I enrolled the last 3 months, and I have to go back and look. And sometimes I realize the reason I don't remember is because one of those months was a 0. And I don't want to acknowledge that actually happened, because it's way more fun to just start over with a new month. And it's like way more fun to pretend like I don't have a hard thing going on in my family and I can just move through, right? Like it's really hard as leaders, and everyone in here is a leader. If you've enrolled one person or you influence one person, you're a leader. You just have to remember that you have to lead yourself well before you lead anyone else well. That doesn't mean crawling in a hole, crawling in a cave, and doing personal development for next year. It just means be aware of what's happening that are things you can control. You can control how many people you talk to a month. You can't control how many people your leg leader enrolls, but you can be in control of how many people you talk to. You can't be in control of how many posts a week 2 people on your team do in a group that they said they were administrators with you. You can be in control of how many posts you do. And so that ownership concept, I know we've talked about it before, but all of this, and Becky, I am sorry, see, this is what happens when you have a green that's concise and going by the time limit, and then there's me. So I should have probably not been on here because it's like I have no self-control. But just remember that the things you can control, you should. And what I mean by that is you can control the words you say to yourself. You can fix that. You can't control, right, the way in which people receive your positive attitude. You can't, because a lot of people are repulsed by things that they are lacking. So like if you scroll your Facebook feed and you're annoyed, okay, you're annoyed at all the happy families on there. It's because you're really annoyed at yourself for your family throwing things at each other the night before, whatever. I'm just trying to use crazy examples, but we all know this stuff. But in prospecting, it literally will come out, your desperation or your apathy. It will just come out and everyone will know it. And it will be so obvious that without them saying it, they just won't jump right on board with you because there's something that they're like, not really sure where she is. So again, not super fun, but it should be motivational because the reason it's called Motivation Monday is motivation comes from, it's internal. Motivation is intrinsic. I cannot motivate any single person on my team to do anything. I can't. You cannot motivate anyone to do anything. Can't motivate your kids, can't motivate your spouse, can't motivate your team. You can inspire them. You can ignite passion in them. You can suggest actions. But all you could do, let's go back, is make sure that you are feeding yourself with things that motivate you and tools to move forward. So number one tool is what Becky just said, law of averages. If you Google Jim Rohn, law of averages, you can write that. I mean, you can listen to that. But what you can also do is start looking at that all across your business and really applying it. Instead of being like, here's the deal. People are rock stars that enroll 20 people a month, okay? Here's the other deal. There's not one person in 5 years doing this business that enrolls 20 people every month. You got me? Like, that's just not true. Like, it's not. Doesn't happen. Don't think it's ever happened in Young Living. Same thing with, here's the deal. You have 100% ER on your personally enrolled. Awesome. There will come a day when you got 80%, 40%. There will come a day when you realize that, like, you have to look at the averages across your team because it doesn't lie on the top part that's doing the most work and results. But it also doesn't, like, those people that aren't doing anything right now, you have no idea what God is doing through them, what seeds they are planting, what's being planted in them, what's going to be birthed out of them in a season that might not be the same season as yours. So remember that about people. They will shock you. Shock you. If you've been doing this business for a year or less, here's the deal. Start laughing at all the people that won't enroll with you right now because they will. They're going to, and you're going to be like, you've been watching me for what? You're literally going to, it's going to blow your mind because they're watching you and they're watching you and they're going to come around. And those people that raised their hand in a class and said, I'm going to build a business, I'm going to be a time-in, watch them too because they're also doing a whole lot of watching, a whole lot of words, and maybe not doing a lot of work. And you just don't know that at the time. So believe the best in people. Believe that numbers can propel you forward. Becky, could you kind of say a couple things to us about your outlook on when you look at numbers? Because I think it's really healthy from someone that likes numbers to hear like what emotional connection you have to them.
I think the biggest emotional connection for me is that it keeps me realistic.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll look back on a month and be like, oh, that was horrible. Like I didn't have a lot of people in my classes. I didn't get a lot of enrollments. My ER is dropping off and I did so much work. And then if I really look at the numbers then I pair it up with the work I did, it might not be there. It might just kind of be in my head that I did more work than I thought. Maybe I thought I talked to more people than I did. Maybe I thought I consciously invited more people to my classes than I actually did. Maybe I just thought about inviting people and never actually hit the invite button. And so it's really good because it shows me kind of where my expectations and my reality don't meet. And then it makes me focus again that it is on me. It's not on my enroller's job. It's not Ashley to get people to my classes. It's not my team's job to get people to my classes. It is on me. And then on the flip side, you know, the numbers can also show you where you've been. Like I've been with this, with Young Living for almost 4 years. And I remember maybe 2 years in, Allison was trying to get me to go for Senior Star. And I went, oh, 2K, oh my gosh, that's never going to happen. That's ridiculous. Because that was such a big jump compared to what my OGV at the time was. You know, and then, you know, fast forward a couple months later or years later and I hit silver and, you know, that's a way bigger jump. And if you keep looking at those numbers and the progress and really think about what months you pushed hard on, you'll really see some changes and how, sorry, Allison said, wowzers, ER percentage. Yeah, I was not focused on ER at all. And then I went to convention, learned all about ER, and then my ER rate went up to above 40% with a year of focus on that. So anything, I think it was like 12% before that convention. It was, which I was like proud of. But yeah, use your numbers to see where you've been, where you're going, and to keep yourself honest with yourself. You know, so many times I hear from a few of my teammates like, oh, I'm doing all this work and I'm not Royal Crown Diamond yet. Like, well, it's going to take a lot of work to get there. And so, you know, you need to focus on what work did you actually do versus what work do you kind of think you did. And so for me, the numbers really help with that a lot.
So guys, that is another Motivation Monday, another week. We're going to talk about focus. And really, I mean, there's also a universal law of focus. And I'm going to leave you with that. And some of you are like, I know this already, but did you know that what you focus on, you get more of? Is that true? That is crazy. But really, all of these things are so important for us to reflect on and use and apply to our lives. And so I want to encourage you, of course, to look at your numbers, determine your average, write down prospects, contact people in accordance to what you determine your average is and what results you want to get this month. But talk to people on your team about health goals this way. Like, people will say they want to eliminate chemicals in their home. I'm like, awesome. Here are 14 products that you can eliminate basically all the toxins in your home today with Thieves products, okay? And what they say is, well, I'm willing to spend $100. I'm like, awesome. So you could get these 5, which will eliminate like, 40%. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, so if you want to eliminate 100%, then about 330 PV, you could do that too. Because you let them make the choice, right? You let them make the choice, which is not the exact law, but you understand about like letting people decide, here's how you get all of it, which would be like, you need to talk to 50 people to enroll 5, if that's your average. Or it's like, here's what you get if you don't get all of it. You don't get 100% if you only purchase a third of the stuff. So not in a bad way of saying it, but just making sure we're realistic, because a lot of us say stuff like Thieves Cleaner is like the only non-toxic cleaning product you need in your home. That is true, but they do need to still wash their dishes and wash their bodies and wash their hands. They probably still need to wash their clothes, brush their teeth. So just remember that you can slant that any way you want, but make sure it honors you really helping them full circle and remembering that this law applies to everything. So thank you for tonight, Becky. I know it's a completely different time zone. I appreciate you spending your morning with us. And I just want to say thank you to Linda and April and Paula and Kim and Allison and Kelsey and Lori and Kayleen for being on here and devoting time to just growing yourself, growing your business, and helping to grow your team. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Night.